younger than me. Oh.
So we're just all hearing about a story of Steve's friend, Stephen the Horse, Stephen to Horse, people. Thank you so much for chiming in, Steve. Right when we're hitting the stream button as well, I didn't want to stop it. Guys, welcome back to Wine for the People, the happy hour, the only show left on the internet where we don't take ourselves as seriously as the wines, and it is probably even questionable that we take ourselves, anyone seriously. We don't really take shit seriously on this show. Although, something you should take seriously is actually the next guest, and we have an absolutely amazing guest. And truth be told, I actually knew nothing about him until, honestly, like Friday night just passed, where I went to one of my favourite wine bars, Hugel in Lobethal, and Josh Kleeman there, who's been on the show a couple of times, was kind enough to be able to thrust a bunch of bottles out of my nose and say, hey, check this stuff out, it's pretty insane. Lo and behold, he was actually already coming on the show the Monday after. Guys, I'm talking about Charlie Obrien. Mate,
there you go.
Thanks so much for joining us. First things first, let's get some wine in glasses, I think is probably fair.
Yep.
You brought a ton of wine, which I'm like stoked to try. And I think first and foremost, we should be cracking into probably what is our favourite grape variety, Fiano. What brought you to making Fiano?
So Fiano, my father who owns Kangaroo Road, he's done Fiano in like a lot of different styles. So he's done straight Fiano, he's done Fiano Vermentino in different portions. So I've always been interested in it. Doing the grape sampling, grapes always taste amazing. So when I came into winemaking, I wanted to make a Fiano. So fruit comes from Ricatera, so up in the Riverland.
Oh, wicked! Cool.
So, yeah, I take most of his fruit for that one.
We've got to figure out a little conveyor belt system here, Noah. It's just a sushi train, just like a.
Yeah, it's absolutely immaculate vineyard. You know much about Ashley's vines, or?
Yeah, no, we take a ton of Fiano from Ashley. He was the guy that brought us up to the Riverland and got us. And this smells incredible, man. This smells on point.
Thanks. Yeah, it's absolutely one of our favourites. My parents have been taking this one home, and the one thing you don't say to your parents is, "Can you pay me for it?" Because you get a long list of the things they bought, like school fees, and it's not good.
So you're basically paying off just like the family support.
Yeah. It's
gradually with wine. It's actually a pretty good deal.
Take as much wine as they want.
Yeah.
Well, they've got enough of their own, so.
Well, I thought we'd do something a little bit different tonight for everyone at home because, I don't know, you're actually pretty, I mean, look, you have actually been in the wine industry longer than I have. The reality is you were born into it. But because you haven't basically been a drinking adult for very long, I thought it would be good to get to know you a little bit better because the internet doesn't turn up a lot of dirt on you yet. I'm sure it will in the future. So we got 10 quick questions. 10
Had to
very.
delete everything before I knew
yeah, that's right.
Settings on private.
So 10 quick questions we're going to run through. These are very, very simple questions. There's nothing too hard, but it'll help everyone at home get to know the real Charlie. Firstly, Shiraz or Grenache?
Shiraz.
Barrique or Punchin?
Punchin.
New school or old school?
New school.
Filtered or unfiltered?
Unfiltered.
High acid or low acid?
Depends, probably high.
Champagne or Prosecco?
Champagne.
That was quick.
No
breathing space. You said champagne. Yes.
Boom. Orange wine or amber wine?
Amber.
Ooh, contentious. To floor or not to floor?
The floor.
Floor. Just had to let the body hit the floor. That is a really good name for a Jura style or anything. Anyway, fortified or unfortified?
Unfortified.
Oh, okay. A matured or nouveau?
What's nouveau?
Nouveau. New. Young.
Right.
Think
probably new.
Burgundy or Beaujolais?
Beaujolais.
Yeah, cool, totally. And there was a bit of a theme there actually, because basically the theme on those questions were basically old school, new school, all the way.
Yeah.
Because you have come from incredible pedigree, incredible Kangarilla Road. That's absolutely fantastic. And these that are coming out are next level. We're going to get on to Silent Noise and what this brand is about. But probably the most important question that I have to ask of you tonight. Does anyone ever confuse you for Justin McNamee's son?
Yeah. So, Choco and I are good mates, and first time he saw me, he just said, "Not mine, is it?"
Really?
Yeah, so
you just like got the whole sort of like Mum and the Milkman kind of deal and stuff like that.
It works in my favour. So whenever I go out to the Moseley in Adelaide or in Glenelg, everyone thinks I'm Ben Brown.
Really?
So I get free drinks all night.
So good.
Not this year.
But it is something that you have had. I was quite surprised to see actually, because what's that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much since I could walk, I'd be over at the winery. So our house was next door to the winery.
Yeah.
So I would crawl over, walk over, be taken over. So that
What are you, like 3?
Yeah, so I was still in my pajamas in that one. So I was, I think, 3 or 4.
See, like quite often we see obviously plunging. Plunging is a pretty normal thing to do in a winery. You plunge a cap, red wine.
So I had a little baby plunger that was for taking samples. So it didn't take much pressure to actually go through it. But my thing was when I was little to soak my hands in the grapes. So I had red hands like Dad. So when I would go to kindy, I'd be like a winemaker. So yeah, always wanted to do that.
I always look at photos like this because there's always that glory shot of punching down the cap and doing the whole red wine ferment thing. But you really took it to other levels, man. Like is that? Are you topping barrels? Are you like 5?
Yeah, so I was probably doing more harm than good. Yeah, that's a pretty cracking photo.
This is amazing, dude.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Again, in my PJs in that one.
That is too good. Well, I mean, obviously nothing has really changed. You're definitely from the Vale. And I need to know, what is with winemakers from the Vale and surfing? I've yet to meet a winemaker from the Vale who doesn't know how to surf.
Well, when you're down there, it's sort of like you have your day off and you just want to sort of chill out. And it's the only place in the Plain Vale that's away from the grapes.
Is this the reason why in the Vale everyone's just so chill all the time?
I think so. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Let's go down to see the rise.
Yeah, go for a surf. You got cliff jumping spots, you got spear fishing, you got normal fishing, just do whatever. Yeah, it's pretty chill down there.
That's incredible, man. It's incredible.
I had those exact same board shorts.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure everyone had those board shorts at one stage.
Yeah, exactly. That was a classic, like, kind of 13-year-old generation.
And now if you wear them, you just don't wear them now.
So
they're in the drawer, though.
I think we would definitely say, though, in terms of the, world's youngest winemaker, you pretty much take the cake. I'm yet to see even, French winemakers that young. That's incredible.
When was your first vintage in the winery?
So first time that I was sort of in control of making a wine was year 10 at school. So I was 2014.
I think that's pretty much on par with Owen Lab. So
yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
that's amazing.
One of the youngest in Australia.
That's incredible. That is incredible. So, but your folks, and this is one of the reasons why, I think your story is so interesting, because when we first started, Wine for the People and this concept of a show, it was because of a multitude of reasons. One of those, though, was that we, with the whole sort of rise of the natural wine scene, which is awesome, there seemed to have become a degree of exclusivity in the industry, where you're either natural or you're not, or you either like, and that was the more dangerous one was when it came to consumer side of things. You either like natural wine or you didn't. So you had to subscribe. And I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, why don't we actually show the real faces behind wines? In what I thought was going to be like 25 episodes. We're still in the coronavirus crisis. Yeah, a little bit more now. But we got, say, the likes of, and probably the best reference would be Justine Henschke, another very young person behind the helm of an amazing, winery that is known for being quite traditional, but to see her passion for that winery and her passion for what Henschke does is infectious. and to see that it's not actually the young or old or us and them, and seeing what it's actually like to be a young person, you know, at the helm or becoming to be at the helm of a brand that has quite a pedigree.
Yeah, that's quite insane.
Hey?
Quite insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, your parents have actually, you know, really grown Kangaroo Road to being something in quite a short time. It was 97?
Yeah, so bought the property in 97 after looking at a few places. So Dad eventually settled on McLaren Vale, close to Adelaide, so everyone, like, close to all their friends, close friends in town. And just, found a really nice spot with a winery that at the time was 25 tonnes.
Yeah, cool.
Within their first year.
Very modest.
And then I think it was 2008 or 2007, 2008 that they cracked the 2,000 tonne processing.
Holy crap, man!
So
that's awesome.
Pretty quick.
It's brilliant because they have. Do you notice that in wine circles and I don't know, there's almost like 100-ton barrier. Like as soon as you become beyond 100 tons, everyone deems you to be not small. Yeah. Which is odd because like
in the Australian sizing, like pretty much you got the gigantic scale, which is up in Berry, but then you got the sort of, we call ourselves a small scale in Australia.
Yeah.
But then small scale can go even smaller than that. But then what you call medium scale is like that.
It's weird, isn't it? And it's actually the Vale has mastered it, this 800 to 3,000 ton, which is quite a spectrum. But even getting to something like 800 is quite significant. And at that level, you can actually talk about Australian wine in a global sense, because you can send wine overseas and it can actually make a splash somewhere like the UK and the US and stuff like that. And we're just talking before we hit the stream button. You've been doing a lot of work in Europe for Kangaroo Road.
Yeah, so Europe's blast. So straight after school, started working for Dad with international sales and European sales. So going around to all the wine events, sort of pouring wine for people. So there's one in the UK called BBC Good Food and Wine. To get a chance to go to it, it's huge. So there's around 200,000 people that go over 4 days.
Fuck, that's crazy.
Absolutely
that's so
huge.
Good.
But when you're a giant redhead, you stand out. So quite a few people recognise you, like from other producers or other things. So pretty good. And then if you return the second year, people definitely recognise you.
Definitely recognise you, of course. So, but you haven't done any work in the States yet.
No, so been over the States, but had to get a fake ID made.
Because you're not legal to drink there. I mean, you are now. So would have Dad employed you to just like do all global sales if we didn't have this COVID crisis?
Not in China, I don't think. He still sort of controls over there, and we don't know how sales are going to go at the moment.
Crazy.
But eventually, when he steps down from Kangaroo Road,
was it a when? You just say when?
Yeah.
Was it like a gift?
No, it's when.
So I suppose it gets me to my next question. Do you feel pressure to keep this concept of a tradition alive with Kangaroo Road, or are you really trying to tread your own path?
Yeah, so I wanted to sort of tread my own path with Silent Noise and sort of do my own thing and sort of create wines that I think are going on the right trend of what's happening now, and what I feel and all my mates, that trying to get them off drinking cruises basically and get them onto wine without giving them the sweetness that they want in their drinks. Because I don't want to make sweet wine because, again, well, actually Mum won't let me make a sweet wine. That's probably the main reason. It's like
Mum's off dry.
Yeah,
it's off dry. Demi-sec, some would say.
So she doesn't like Sauvignon Blanc, so Dad and I aren't allowed to make it. It's like a prime point.
It's probably a point of pride now.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like a, we went through the Savalanche not making Sauvignon Blanc.
Honestly, just make the most cooked version of Sauvignon Blanc you can.
Yeah, no, I've seen people do that. So this is my Sauvignon Blanc.
I was going to go work for a winery in Sancerre called Alphonse Melot.
Yes, know it very well.
Yeah, so I was meant to go work for him, but the French consulate lost my passport with the visa in it. Like sending the visa back. I know they sent it to the wrong address. So I didn't get to go, but that was going to be like, if I could make wine like him, I would be allowed to make it.
Of course, yeah. There's the credibility thing as well.
Yeah, but sort of, I don't know, bugged him a lot, and so that's what I've done for quite a few wineries.
So do you think the industry Sauvignon Blanc chains?
No, definitely not. Like Sauv Blanc's held up. Like Adelaide Hills,
Sauv Blanc has held up.
Well, is the like #1 or #2 or whatever at the moment.
Sold wine.
Yeah, and people sort of recognise Hills for that, and sort of there might be some people that don't like it, but taste buds are everyone's different. So the majority of people do love it, and it's done wonders for like lots of brands.
Well, that's a really sort of democratic way, I think. Sorry, I should say diplomatic way of putting it, because it has, like, Sauvignon Blanc has been that thing that keeps the lights turned on, it keeps the staff wages paid and whatnot.
Because Sauv Blanc's quick turnaround.
Yep.
You don't need to store it for too long. The style in the hills is normally sort of unoaked or sort of really lightly oaked, so you can have a quick turnaround on it. Whereas reds, so for example, this red in the middle, that's the winery for 4 years before release.
That's crazy, man. And so, can you imagine, like, just putting your investment in something that you don't know is actually going to be commercially successful?
But then you have 4 lots of that sitting in the winery.
Of course, so
it keeps building up until you release one.
See, this is our problem with Esoterica. We created this thing, matured it for a year, and we didn't actually think it would amount to anything because, you know, our amber wine. I gotta keep remembering that. Amber wine, not necessarily, I mean, it is kind of cool, but is it commercially viable above, you know, like 10,000 cases? Can you do that?
Yep.
And we did. Then the next year, people were like, oh, you want to buy more? And you're like, yeah, but it's like, I'm operating a year or two behind myself. Like, we only made the same amount or less.
Yep.
You know, we didn't bet the whole farm on a crazy, well, we kind of did. I mean,
now we
do.
A
lot of cases. Now we do. Now we do on a regular basis because, you know, screw it. You know, life's not interesting enough. But I read that Kangaroo Road, and this is probably the coolest thing, like, because a lot of people go, Kangaroo Road or our X winery was established here, and then try to paint a picture of what life was like back then. And the coolest one I've ever read was explaining that Kangaroo Road was established in a time when Friends and Seinfeld were all that anyone ever watched. And it kind of, like, such a cool thing to be able to immediately put you into the zone, because I remember those days. And I was like, I mean, I was super young. You were super, super young. You may not have been born. You must have been very close to not being born.
I think Seinfeld was off the air. Seinfeld would have been off the air, I reckon. Like 98.
98.
Yeah, 98, 99.
Yeah, wow, there you go.
I've been just born.
So did you have fond memories, obviously, growing up, being able to be able to just crawl to the winery?
Yeah, it's well, when you say it like that, it's a bit weird.
So, I mean, it's a little bit weird, but usually people crawl out of wineries, not crawl into wineries. Amazing growing up there. I know, it's really, really cool. I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest. Just the wine scene, like everyone's so like generous and like caring, loving. They want to see what other people are doing. They want to see what their neighbours doing. Whereas I always compare it to other professions where if you stuff up, you quite often will lose your job and have to find a new job. Whereas if you stuff up 1 year in wine, you don't release that year. You send it to your mates and say, what have I done wrong? What's gone wrong with it? How can I fix it? And you'll have everyone replying within your region. I think that's a really cool thing with the Vale in particular. I think that's the thing that the Vale has probably done better than any other wine region in Australia. I think you'd be hard pressed to find and I think you kind of found it in the Barossa, but many decades ago. We don't really, and we want to see more of it, but the Vale just is the absolute key. Who else would know it? I mean,
as far as like wine
right, Adelaide Hills kind of to a, but Vale's just got so much more history to it and so many more producers behind it.
I think the thing about the Vale that builds up the camaraderie is the location from one another. Like, you can ride your bike and hit 10 different other wineries.
Yeah, definitely.
On one road, and then you go on to the next road across. It's the same story. Whereas the hills, it's it's a 20-minute drive to your mate, and then another one, and then another one.
Yeah, next minute you're in Basket Range, you're lost, and you're just like eating shrooms at the back of someone's paddock, and you're like, man, what's going on right now?
Oh, Fenwick,
everyone looks like gnomes. You turn around, it's Aaron Fenwick, he's right there.
I think that's really the key part of that.
Well, jumping onto the comments, guys, thank you so much for chiming in nice and early. Sorry it's taken a little while because we have had a bit of a bug in our chat thing, so I'm only just picking up on it now. Kerry Carter, first one in on the comment. Thank you so much. Mel Sinclair, happy mundane Monday. Of course, Mel's coming out with the puns straight away. Thank you so much. Aiden, g'day. How you doing? Love the labels in the winery name. We're going to talk about that a little bit of time. More productive than Sandcastles, talking about your upbringing, that's for sure. Does he have a wine called Darkness Visible just to offset that oxymoron?
Tried too hard there. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. don't quite get that one, Mel. Interesting hearing from someone so young who has had such a mature view, and honestly, yeah, absolutely. Like that's incredible. Like some of the like legit, real chat around things like Sauvignon Blanc. Fantastic. Paul Finn, what's the difference between amber and orange wine? Do you know the difference?
I don't know the sort of technical reason behind it. You would be way better at explaining it than I would.
Well, the truth is there's no difference. There's literally zero difference, apart from the fact that Wine Australia and the wine region of Orange is very firm on the protection of their GI, and they have made absolutely certain that anyone claiming to have made an orange wine indeed has not made an orange wine, because it hasn't come from orange, even if it's not made from oranges, and indeed if it doesn't resemble the...
So they're trying to do a Prosecco, like, or no, not a Prosecco, a champagne type thing, to put a...
Yeah, and it is one of those fortunate and unfortunate things that we have a wine region called Orange, and it's very unique to us because we're actually held globally to that standard. So if we are selling orange wine in the States, then we have to call it amber wine, but no one else in any other country selling any wine in the States or the UK or basically anywhere but Australia has to call it anything other than orange wine. So there is literally no difference. But I can understand why there is a bit of a legal conundrum surrounding it. And, you know, to be fair, the wine region is called Orange. And that is just a really sort of inconvenient truth. That said, I was thinking about organising my own sovereign nation, and I'm going to call it Sparkling. And we're going to get 3 producers producing Sparkling. Then we're going to claim that as a GI, and then no one else can use the term Sparkling. Because I'm pretty sure orange wine has existed since 2000 BC.
Call it Bubbles.
Bubbly.
Bubbly.
You see the little dollar signs going up every single time someone says it?
I just had thoughts of when you said that, it was like, don't mess with Zohan.
Yeah.
Busy Bubbly.
I have not thought about that movie.
This is a long time. Wow, Justin Hess chiming in straight. Whoa, Sideshow Bob. He's immensely less evil than Sideshow Bob, I assure you. Charlie is quietly spoken, a bit difficult to hear all he says, or is it just me? No, he's just quietly spoken, so he's going to yell. He's going to yell. Silent noise, darkness visible. A nation called Sparkling, full of effervescent personalities, Brendan. Sure. Yes. Bring everyone. It'll be the loudest nation ever. In fact, it will be definitely the opposite of Silent Noise, which we're going to start talking about now. You launched Silent Noise in
2016, so when I was in year 12 at school.
Was this your research project, or?
No, so I wanted something to go on after school. I knew that I didn't want to study the first year, but also I wasn't sure on gap year.
Okay.
Sounds like you had a pretty good one.
In
Europe.
that was true. So started up. Knew that I wanted to be in the wine industry from very young, from the photos that you showed earlier, and just really wanted to sort of start a staple, start out with something big, start from the top, which was this one in the middle.
So I reckon we should. I don't have a.
I do.
Are we going to do a... Oh, yeah, are we going to do this? It's going to hit me in the face. Whoop, great.
Good grab.
That was with the wrong hand.
Non-preferred.
Yeah, exactly. Because we actually encountered these wines at Hugel the other night. I had a good cheeky taste of this. This is very amazing because this particular wine here... talk to us about it. What do we got? Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah, so that one's a 2015 McLaren Vale Shiraz. So Dad and I share the same vineyard for this one.
So who does a better job of it?
So we play rock, paper, scissors, who's getting what part of the vineyard.
Oh, wow.
So every year
this is awesome.
So every year it's different. So sometimes, well, the vineyard's pretty flat anyway. So it's at Madison's Beach.
Nice.
So about 300 meters off the cliffs there, planted almost directly into limestone. So it's owned by just a guy who's at his retirement home, wanted to sort of start up a vineyard and sort of spend his time out in the vines, which is really amazing. So 30-year-old vines, again directly into limestone, so they're under so much stress, creating that black fruit character. So blackberries, black currants, and there's almost like a little oaky character that comes from the wine, even when it's during ferment, just because the sort of the limestone, the middle, limestone kind of gives that aroma to the wine. So Dad does one of his wines unoaked, and quite often the comments from wine writers is too much oak, even though he hasn't put any in it.
So it's how much wine writers know.
Is it? Exactly. It's like how much wine writers know. That's right. This is incredible. This is when Laura and I encountered this on Friday, we were quite surprised as to, there's a stylistic difference between this wine, which is I'm going to say old school as fuck. This is actually, but it's done really well. It's like old school shouldn't be like a slap in the face for any wine producer. To be called old school means that you have an utterly remarkable sort of handle on making wine in that particular style. I can't make wine in that style if I tried. I just don't. But the other thing is I'm also impatient. Like 2015, man. Like you had to go through schoolies, man. How did you not drink all of this at schoolies?
Schoolies isn't the vibe that I thought it was going to be.
Because it's going to be my next question. Did like all your mates be like, oh yeah, man, Charlie's dad's got a winery.
They hit me up for jobs.
Oh really?
Yeah, but they can come work, and it's normally a good time. So, I hope.
Charlie looks like yours and Scott's, who's my brother. He looks like our cooler younger brother. Yeah, and he kind of feels that way too. Seriously, this guy's way cooler than both of us. That's absolutely for sure.
Sunny Coast, not Brisbane.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, definitely. Now, I did notice that Silent Noise is available on the Kangarilla Road website, which I've linked up in the description for anyone that wants to jump at the chance to be able to pick up these wines. But is this an extension of Kangarilla Road, or is this another, like, completely distinct?
Yeah, so Kangarilla Roads, they started off as financials. So instead of going to the bank for a loan, I went to my parents for a loan, because I had better interest rates.
That's so true. Such truth. I love this. It's fantastic. This is why you don't ask them to buy your Fiano, man. You just give them bottles and just say thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the reason I use their website at the moment, I'm trying to create, so originally with Squarespace, and just wanted to sort of make it a little bit bigger, better, so working with people in Melbourne, but Melbourne's been shut down at the moment.
Yes.
Creating a new website, because Squarespace, I didn't want to do the operation through sales through them, because they take a larger percentage than if I own the website outright.
For sure, yeah, no, absolutely. See, that is something that is a little bit, unexpected from the whole sort of COVID shutdown. Is we do have a naturally high amount of creatives that are centralised in Melbourne.
100%.
Hard pressed whenever you see that. It's like, I'm a graphic designer, like based in Melbourne, or a web designer based in Melbourne. You do definitely sort of lose that during lockdown. But I imagine they must be flooded with work anyway, because everyone's jumping on the whole online e-commerce sort of bandwagon.
They're all still going, but it was sort of like trying to create a website that looked well for the brand and sort of kept with whatever I wanted, like trying to make it sort of young but to the old school mixed with the new school, and just trying to sort of mold everything together and do it all on the phone at the same time.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned, mixing the old school with the new school, because I think that's a really amazing approach, very level-headed approach, because obviously you could go the whole hardcore natty path. But, has it been hard to take over the reins from your old man?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
Because, I mean, he put so much hard graft into it, 97. And prior to, you were just sharing with us an amazing fact that I had, that no amount of research could throw up. What did your dad do prior to to Kangaroo Road?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So before, the first thing he did, one of the things he did straight out of uni was working for a bread yeast manufacturer, working to make a yeast that would be good for fermentation, and especially wine fermentation that came in dry packs. So, and also they made one for brewing as well.
Yeah, right.
So pretty much every winery is using one of these today, if they don't do natural fermentation. Or wild fermentation.
So do you do wild ferment?
So yeah, with that one.
Is he a bit pissed off because of that? Just the hesitation's enough, people. You don't need an answer on that one. So he obviously is a fervent believer of that sort of style, but he's done some really interesting stuff. Like he's done some really interesting, different types of fermentation. We'll get into in a little bit, but obviously, I imagine he must have sort of stylistic, directional things that he likes to drink. So every winemaker tends to make.
We drink at home.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're definitely on a Pinot Chardonnay road.
Yeah, right.
With quite a lot of actually Riesling.
Yeah, cool. Do you reckon Vale Riesling could be a thing?
Yeah. So have you ever tried Darenberg's Riesling?
Yeah, plenty of times. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably the only Vale producer at the moment of Riesling.
I didn't realise it was Vale Riesling.
Yeah.
I thought it was either Hills or Clare.
No, I'm pretty sure they're Vale Riesling.
That's pretty cool. I'm surprised that no one's jumped on the Vale sort of Riesling bandwagon. It seems to make a fair amount of sense to me.
Yeah. Climate-wise, probably doesn't get the colder nights that Riesling sort of needs.
Yeah, right.
And also...
Further higher up.
Yeah. But then you're looking at sandy soils, and how does Riesling sort of react with sandy soils?
Who cares? Let's find out.
Fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Just give it a crack. All right, so let's move on, because I want to check out some of these, because I definitely want to jump onto this cheeky little. It's a Primitivo. Talk to me about Primitivo.
So Primitivo is Zinfandel, same grape variety. There's some slight differences that some people would say. People would say that Primitivo has a slightly furrier side of the back of the leaf.
Yeah, right.
But that's just, some vineyards are like that, some vineyards are the same. So yeah, Zinfandel Primitivo, same grape variety, originated in Croatia. Croatia being so close to Italy, Italians adopted Primitivo.
Yeah,
so
right.
Primitivo is generally the sort of the lighter, brighter, sort of more relaxed interpretation, where California can either be the white Zinfandel, which is a little bit sweeter, just because the grapes are quite uneven ripeness. But also they can either be the big, bold, gutsy, sort of, if you want a Shiraz that would knock a Shiraz but bigger, bolder, and knock your socks off, drinkers in.
Because that's things like Zinfandel and like Petit Syrah,
Yeah, true.
that they make, a lot of in California. We're talking old school California, though. We're not talking like, there's not a lot in California that's known for restraint. Let's face it, it is all about a lot of expression, even in their Pinots, even in their like it is kind of hard to find, but any sort of restraint in their wines. But this was the thing that really sort of piqued my interest, because there's something a little bit different about this Primitivo.
Yeah. So going back to sort of bugging Dad again, he makes a wine called the Vale, which is a Sauvignon underfloor. So underfloor means like a.
Well, we have a button for this. We have a button. It's called Getting Basic. Let's get basic. What's floor? FLOR.
So floor is a yeast that's made for sherries. So it's a sherry yeast. So instead of a normal yeast where it would immerse itself within the liquid, floor yeast sits on the surface, can't get submerged. If it gets submerged, it dies.
Yep.
And it will create a sort of a veil, which is the term the French call it, because it looks like a lattice work on the surface. That will then
a veil of silk. Someone is just kind of like.
It will then protect the wine.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
That is remarkable. It is so typically
really cool.
floor-based wines are typically white wines. Like they'll typically be white grapes. Very rarely have I ever seen anything intentionally under floor as a red wine. and this shows those floor characteristics remarkably well. These are this is
pretty,
very cool.
Pretty subtle. So even with 14 months underfloor, it's still very, very subtle.
Yeah, right.
Whereas if you left a white underfloor for 14 months, they'll be classified. They'll be getting from beyond Fino Sherry to I forgot what the next one is.
Amontillado.
Yeah. It's getting closer to those.
Matured Fino.
Yeah.
That is so fresh. And in fact, Mel Sinclair's shown, does the name Primitivo imply a youth or character of the wine? Not sure where the name Primitivo. I mean, geographically, I should say, we actually know where it came from, but I don't know. Why they actually called it that. That's actually a new one for me. Because quite honestly, it's a bit of a pain to grow. It is this hen and chicken thing. It pretty much defines it.
Yeah, Zinfandel Primitivo, we found in the past couple of years, like the hotter years, it just goes into survival mode.
Yeah.
So it just throws out a massive crop with no leaves. So
Great.
Useful. Like, oh no. So it's just throwing out as many seeds as it can, basically.
Yeah.
Which is not too helpful. So we have to crop thin it. So we crop thin about 20% of that vineyard. Just drop it on the ground because you can't really do anything with it.
Primitivo Verdure. That's pre-Verdure.
It's pre-Verdure.
Pre-Verdure. It's pea size is what we call it.
Yeah.
All right. So you've brought an awesome wine for us to blind taste with.
We have two, actually.
We have two. Oh man.
I want to pick one.
We're gonna pick one. We don't know what it is. Well, he knows what it is. I don't know what. But in the meantime, obviously what you're doing here in the Vale and like Primitivo on a floor, you're doing Fiano. You're a young person just in general. Mm-hmm. Have you managed to ruffle any feathers in the Vale?
I know the Vale's pretty hard to do that.
Have you managed to ruffle feathers further afield?
I don't think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I think touch wood. Yeah, not too sure.
Oh damn! What's
Don't
this?
really get feedback. Oh.
This is fun. What have you brought? This is awesome. It's stemmy and herbaceous. It's something whole bunchy. This is so cool. It's almost like a really beautiful example of Pinot on the nose. Anyway, I am going to be dropping the comments down, so I do not know what the wine is. Noah will let you know in due course. All right. Have you played blind tasting much? Did your dad put you through it when you were like 5 and it's been like a rocky montage of wine tasting and training?
Yeah, pretty much. I love sort of going, trying all the different wines, and he would sort of go out and sort of at the back pantry and pour something, take it out to me and try and work out what it is. And it's like, all right, these are your options, and he always give options.
Yep.
That's sort of the way that we played it at home, just so I sort of had a chance, because he normally tried to throw me under the bus, to try and get me really wrong and just guess everything incorrect.
I know exactly what that feels like. Noah does that for us, and he's getting really good. Have you ever embarrassed your old man? Like, have you ever like guessed something that he just never would have thought would trip you up, and you just blitz it?
Yeah, he had his mates over, so quite a lot of sort of accomplished winemakers for his wine dinner, whatever it's called, and got to join in, and the first wine came out. Everyone put their things up. Quite a few of the winemakers got completely wrong, and I guess the first wine correctly, and got told to go down the other end. Yeah, so.
Well, I reckon this one's going to be fun. Personally, I think this is gorgeous. This particular wine. Would you like to run options, or would you like Noah to run options?
You can.
I'll do it. Yeah, no worries. Is this New World or Old World? We're not doing the red and white thing.
Yeah, no. Well, that's right. We can the red and white thing because it was just kind of a little bit defunct. I think this is New World.
Is this from United States, Australia, New Zealand?
Tough. I just don't think the acidity is there for something like a wine out of New Zealand. It's amazingly herbaceous. So it's like whoever's playing around with this is like really happy with a bit of whole bunch. Like they're really kind of like I'm talking 50% and up. But I think the stems are a little bit underripe, so it's a little bit greenish. Which you kind of like if the fruit's actually really pristine. So if it was like pristine fruit and it came from the States, they probably wouldn't be using whole bunch that was like this green. So I think it's Australia.
This is from Australia. Is this from South Australia, Victoria, or Tasmania?
That's really cool. My initial thought, and I'm going to have to go with my gut on this, it's a feeling. It's not really sort of based in any sort of logic or anything like that, is actually to go with Tasmania. And it doesn't actually, everything that I just said before about like green stems and stuff like that, because Tasmania typically won't turn that out. There's just like, there's a really striking, a really beautiful balance in the wine, and I just feels Tasmanian.
This is Tasmania.
Cool.
It's good so far.
Shouldn't pick something harder.
We got 2, it's okay.
Yeah, he's got 102 episodes of training.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Alrighty,
cool.
I'm just going to do a little
Yeah,
bit
it feels
more
Tassie
research.
because it's really quite pristine. It's I think someone's like had a really amazing platter. I have an inkling at who like might be the producer on this wine. I have a bit of an inkling. I don't know what it is, but I only know a handful of winemakers. And look, there's not a lot of grapes in Tasmania. There's just just not a lot in terms of like acreage. It's like 1/10 of the amount of grapes they have in Queensland. You know, so it's like it's 2/5 of nothing.
One side of it's all national park. So.
It's probably for good reason. It's probably for good
Well, you
reason.
put vines there if it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's. What's next, Noah?
We're going to go straight to sub-region.
Cool. Okay, let's get
We're gonna
fancy.
Is this from the Derwent Valley? Is this from Coastal River Valley or Coal River?
Yeah.
Or Tamar Valley?
This is where you're probably going to get me.
Yes.
But it's really interesting that for an island with such a little amounts of grapes that we're now talking about like sub-regionality. Like it goes to show that it's not volume doesn't exactly matter. Interest, good viticulture, good winemaking, you know, that matters, and that's what Tasmania's been doing for a really long time. It was Derwent, Coal River, and Tamar.
Yep.
I think Coal River.
This one's from the Tamar Valley.
Ooh,
This
okay.
one's up north.
Yep.
We're going to go producer. Is this 2-ton Tasmania? Ricky Barbie. Is this from our mate James Bronwynski at Small Island? Is this Pete Dredge, Dr. Edge?
My gut feeling, straight off the bat, was 2-ton Tasmania, Ricky Bobby.
This one's from our mate James Bronwynski.
No way!
This is Small Island.
Oh,
Tamar
wicked!
Valley. Vintage 1918 17.
I'm going to go 18.
18.
Brilliant. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Crazy
This is
wine.
so cool, man.
You inexplicably picked a wine that from a guy that Brendan went to uni with.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Yeah, no, I went to uni with this guy, and he's absolutely fantastic. So this is Small Island, Glengarry, single vineyard, Tamar Pinot. Like this guy again, sort of similar to yourself, burst on the scene, and he just started putting out banger after banger after banger of amazing wines. Have you tried any Gamay?
Yeah, so I always do the young gun wines.
Yeah.
He's
Because you're a
always-
legit
he's
young
always-
gun as opposed to all the other 40, 50-year-old
Yeah,
people that
well,
decide
when-
to sign up for it.
When the young
do
guns
that.
have kids my age, then it's sort of like, are you really a young gun if your kids are my age? Like,
See, young people are pissed off too. That's why I don't enter anymore. I think honestly, and I know Rory Kent's gonna hate me for saying this, but from the ages of 20 to 30, like we have so many great young people that are doing amazing things from the ages of 20 to 30.
Yeah.
And I think if you're above 30, hey, look, okay, I'll grant you this. If you're above 30 and you're below 40, you're not middle-aged. Okay, I'll grant you that. But you're definitely not a young gun. Like seriously, you're just not a young gun.
Unless it's your first vintage. I'm not talking about like wine and making history. It's like you have to start
Okay, maybe like 31, 32. I mean, we've got to draw a line at some point. Like, if you're like 36 and you come, and granted, you're a great winemaker, you've had a great career, you've done a bunch of great stuff. Okay, I think it would be more prestigious for a person with their first release to win the Royal Adelaide Wine Show.
Yeah.
Than to take out the young gunner wines, because I think young people need a platform to, and Rory's created an amazing platform
100%.
for young people to be able to stand up and kind of go, yeah, young people are doing really dope, relevant stuff. They should be able to get, a bunch of write-ups in media and be able to get their brand out there. It's huge, and what he's done is a fantastic thing. Just if you've got kids, that are 20 years old, maybe just think about whether or not you're still a young gun or not. Maybe look in the mirror. I'm saying rant over. It's just you're not younger. You may be young in your own mind. That's fine. That's good. I'll give you that. So I want to ask, obviously you do a Fiano. Fiano, of course, what we started with, our favorite sort of all-time variety next to Nero, and you also do a cheeky Nero rosé. And McLaren Vale has sort of more famously been known for not being like up there with white wines. It's never really been known as a white wine region.
Yeah,
but
really.
It's amazing to see the adoption of things like Rhone-based white varieties.
Yeah.
And Fiano Vermentino. Where do you see Fiano fitting into all of this? Because this one's from the Riverland. Do you see sort of Vale Fiano in the horizon? Yeah,
definitely. Sort of we've contemplated ripping out some of the Shiraz to put our own Fiano block in, the home block. But sort of looking to futures, just trying to see where it would work. And Fiano, looking up at the Riverland one, like we went to go look at the vineyard on those really hot days that we had during summer. So it would have been, I think it was 52 degrees at the vineyard when we arrived. So it was stupidly hot. And the vines look healthy as. You see Shiraz on a day like that.
It's pretty crazy,
and the Shiraz leaves are like all starting to close in on themselves. They're starting to go like basil colour. So it just doesn't look good. But then Fiano, Montepulciano, Miradava, they all look immaculate driving past them.
It's incredible, isn't it? It makes it sort of like the mind boggles as well, especially when you're dealing with an amazing person like Ashley Ratcliffe and Ricatera, and he's growing sort of both of these side by side. And I do sort of wonder whether or not when you go into that vineyard that does he even need to grow that Shiraz there? I think sometimes he keeps a bit of Shiraz there because it's a gentle reminder of like why he's doing what he's doing, because I'm sure when he sort of busted on the scene that there must have been haters out there. There must have been people telling him like, mate, what are you actually doing? It's pretty nuts. So,
Yeah, but the area that he's in is very heavily Italian influenced. So I think some of the older Italian guys are sort of really liking that they're bringing sort of old school Italy back into their region instead of just going like Dolcetta and going sort of all the big white grapes that just go for volume.
Prosecco. Yeah, Lara.
But just trying to sort of create something new and sort of create something that they had back home, which is pretty cool. So his next door neighbour's really chilled in that sort of sense.
Is he the guy that grows the Zabibo? Sort of amazing Zabibo vineyard there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And
he has a really good golden fig tree, which is like exactly right when we have to harvest the Fiano. So always take double.
This is the guy that's been stealing your figs. Mate, we're not going to let you leave here. We are about to run out of time. Obviously, to play the blind tasting game, we've got 3 different wines along the back of the wall here. I don't know what they are. You sure as hell don't. So grab a bottle, your choice, completely your choice. Give it to Noah, and we're gonna have a bit of fun. Didn't need that light anyway. It's not even important. Don't worry about it.
Still alive.
Got the corkscrew there.
Oh right, yeah.
See how the return
are we gonna
goes.
Whoa,
much better
nice.
throw.
Much better throw. Hey Stephen, I'll grab that. Yeah. Reckon I could rope you in? Yes. Please. Thank you very much. It's good. We've got Stephen Torres, people. He's everyone's favourite chocolatier. He's really up here for the wine. He doesn't really like me. I'm kind of. I mean, you all saw episode 100. You know, he told everyone's dirty stories. BC because grumpy old man. That's right. Stephen DeHorst is rubbing off on me.
Jeez, hot shots.
Angry Dutchman. What's the rosé in the background? Partial rosé. This is a Nero rosé. This is probably I would argue one of the greatest varieties to make rosé from. Absolutely. The mad scientist of wine, possibly. I haven't had too many Tassie wines because there's not a lot of Tassie grapes, funnily enough. Tassie wines taste like wild, unexplored lands dashed with varieties that we already know, just a little untamed. That is probably an amazing, like a really amazing accurate. That's a really cool thing about Tasmania. We've been looking closely. I'm not sure if you guys and you know, just like we all are, COVID lockdown, have been looking into things like hiking, like I have. But seriously, the hikes in Tasmania are next level good. Had Shiny Wine Syrah on the weekend. It's next level Tassie wine. Shiny Wine, yeah, James Scott, also studied with him as well. We were all in a class together. James, and myself. James Romanowski, James Scott, and myself. So yeah, I got my fair share of you know, proof that Tasmanians can swim. That's what they say about South Australians. Anyway, so that because I'm from Queensland. We're all just a little bit backwards up there. Ooh. Little bit kissed by the cork on this one.
Really?
Was this under cork?
Yeah, it was under cork.
Very slight. Super slight. Supersonic Turtle Low 2. Grumpy man or dirty old man? Well, Kerry, you'll just have to wait to find out. Mainly grumpy. All right. Do you reckon we can see through that? Can you pick up that little cork taint? No.
A little bit, but sometimes, yeah, I don't know if varietal or winemaking can be behind it as well. So
I'm alright with that. I'm alright. I reckon I could see through it. I have no clue what it is, but ladies and gentlemen, we are about to play blind tasting. Do you like that?
Yeah, it's good.
It's semi-pro. All right, so Noah, Dungeon Master. Put the screen down. I can't actually see. Honestly, the comments are just like completely gone. So I can monitor some, but not most.
You can definitely see through this.
All right, this is actually. I reckon this is tough.
I reckon it's tough too.
Immediately, straight off the bat, I think this one's a toughie.
Is this New World or Old World?
You know what would be a really amazing question? It would be that red or white question, because I have no idea.
You have no idea if this is red or white?
No.
Wow, okay. Red or white then, bro?
The only thing is the sheer level of tannin that gives it away as red. But there is like a weird bulbous sweetness thing going on that's it's almost metallic-y. It's that could make me sort of think towards like the realms of highly aromatic German Austrian variety white wine. That's why it's kind of like screwing with me. I think it's red.
Mind games.
I think it's red.
Yeah, I think it's red as well.
Alrighty, well, it's red. It is definitely red. It's quite red. Is this New World or Old World?
I think it's Old World.
Yeah, same here.
This is Old World. Is this from Austria?
Just can't give away anything with Noah because it'll just jump straight onto it. It's just, it begins his repertoire of evilness.
I'm an asshole. Is this from Spain or is this from France?
Noah. I don't, like, if this is from Spain, I'll eat my hat. Do you hear about that? There's a guy that actually ate his hat? Actually,
yeah, like, you in about 10 minutes.
That story that you were telling earlier. You were
do it. All right. Really, from Spain? From Spain, from Spanish?
I'm thinking French.
I reckon this could be a cheeky Blaufränkisch from Austria.
Could be, but I haven't tried many, so that's sort of throwing me off.
What's the that fruit sweetness is really interesting. It's just fascinating. It's really like it's the tannin is amazing, and it's kind of got me like I'm thinking less. I'm gonna take a stab at Austria on this one because France is. Yeah.
I'm sticking with French.
You're sticking with French?
Yep.
You're right. It's French. This is French. It's been beaten by 22-year-old kid. Is this from Beaujolais? Is this from the Loire Valley?
Don't do that to me, Noah.
Is this from Jura?
Ooh.
That could explain the corky smell.
Yeah.
To be honest, all of the answers could be explained.
Yeah, true. But
I think Beaujolais is the first thing that sort of stands out in my mind. I don't think this is a Trousseau or a Poulsard.
Yeah, but they have Pinot up in.
There's Pinot?
In Jura.
You're gonna take a punt at.
They have a lighter style of grape variety. Say that. I don't want to take a punt at it yet.
I've got Gamay up in
Gamay
as well. In Jura, yeah, absolutely.
This would be like whoever sent this to us, most atypical Jura I've ever seen. But it's kind of cool. Like it does explain that winemaking style, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of like
Rancio.
I'm not sure. Maybe I've got some Primitivo left in the glass.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's like a little bit. It's like
left in your mouth.
yeah, that's right. It's a wrong glass. I'm feeling Vosges on this one. Just Gamay with a little. I don't think it's Cabernet Franc. It's just not stemmy enough. It's pretty robust. It's that and fruit sweetness. It's just the hallmark thing that's just it feels like I'm chewing a blueberry, basically.
I'm sticking with Jura.
This wine is from the Loire Valley.
We can both.
Always from the Loire Valley. Every single time, honestly, it's probably happened like close to 30 times now. It's like Loire is an option. I don't choose it. It ends up being Loire. I even tried to stress test this where I thought it was from somewhere else. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to choose Loire anyway.
Well, it would have worked there, but...
Yeah, and it worked then, and it would have worked now. Okay, it's from Loire. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay.
Kind of not like... It's pretty much only going to be from two sub-regions of Loire.
Samir
and Vouvray.
Vouvray. Yeah. I think it's from Samir, personally, and I think it's that weird variety. Got a funny name.
Yeah, it's in that kind of it's Anjou Samour kind of area.
Yeah.
So it's you're right. I'll give you that. Is this Pinot Meunier? Is this Cabernet Franc or is this Gamay?
You're just like, shit.
Literally.
See, I told you he's really good, and it gets worse as the game goes on.
And it gets worse every other day because I learn something else.
It's like next minute, you know.
Every episode is an arrow in the quiver.
What do you think it is?
I reckon Pinot Meunier. That's what I'm going for. I'm not too sure.
I'm gonna go with Gamay.
It's Gamay. You got something right there.
No, it's just like every single time we play the game, it's a calibration. It's like this is tannin, this is fruit weight, this is, and that's the reason why everyone should be playing this at home, because it's just, it aligns flavor with place. It connects us to a place based on a taste, and I think it's a fantastic thing. And every single time my mind's kind of going one way, I'm like, how is this not what I thought it was? At least it's really good to know that it's something of what I thought it was, so I can start to recalibrate again.
Thing about it, the Loire Valley right now, I think there's a lot of interesting producers not doing the kind of appellated stuff, and they're just like playing around with shit like Gamay and Grollo and stuff like that, and making funky stuff that
Loire Tempranillo is going to be hung in gender,
and that's
sparkling,
and that's what we get when we do this game, and then you just go, yeah, you have to kind of throw the Wisset rulebook out the window. You have to just go with your kind of gut, actually tasting the wine.
Have you done Wisset?
That's the level 3.
Yeah, right. So, let us know whether you think it's still like relevant or not.
Yeah, definitely.
This is pretty cool. So this is brought in by Terroir Selections. So remember Xavier Bizot we had on the show a couple of weeks back. This is his business, Chateau Pierre Bise, Anjou Gamay. Absolutely fantastic, and of course, very well and truly from Loire. Which I'll remember next time. Like now, Noah's just going to add Loire in all the time.
Like I do with Austria.
But we've literally hit our time, and we have one last question. We're in for one last question. What variety have you got your eye on?
Ooh.
What's the future for Australian wine? What is the thing that right now as a 22-year-old you're like, you know what, I want to plant this because I think this is when I'm hitting my 30s. This is going to be big.
Really want to plant Grenache Blanc. A lot more Grenache Blanc in McLaren Vale.
That really mimics like a lot of sort of sentiment that I'm hearing out of the Vale about like Rhone white varieties and even things like Picpoul as well.
Yeah,
really high on the agenda.
Working for Yangara. Yangara did a lot of Grenache Blanc, and then also working in the Languedoc.
Oh, yep.
Languedoc did heaps of Grenache Blanc. Even though the winemaker didn't tell you that it was Grenache Blanc, he would just say the grapes would arrive, they'd be white grapes, and they'd just say Blanc. It was like, because they didn't clean the harvester the night before. So it would just be a mixture of everything.
That's fantastic. Well, Mel Sinclair has chimed in right before we sign off. Which wine is Charlie's favourite from his Silent Noise line? What is the wine that you hang your hat on and go, this one's dope?
Ooh.
Got to choose a child.
Yeah, choose a quick.
Yeah, going to shoot the rest of them.
Probably the Primitivo, just because it's so out there, so different. But it's made in traditional style, but just not traditional for that.
For that particular grape variety.
Grape variety, and also for a red wine. And
it's wonderfully executed as well. Like that was the wine that both Laura and I on Friday, without you being present as well, unsolicited, we chose that as the hallmark. That was just like, man, this is interesting as shit. No one else is doing anything like this. So definitely, if you pick up that bottle, it is linked up in the description. I would highly recommend you check that out. And in fact, I'd highly recommend you check out all the wines. They're all actually really, really, really impressive. That Fiano is like a daily drinker.
Yeah.
That is.
We call it a 5 o'clock wine because we knock up at 5. So.
Yeah. 4:35 even. You know,
4:30.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. That is the perfect time.
2 p.m. on a Monday.
11 a.m. on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Anyway. Guys, thank you so much for being a fantastic audience. We'll be back, of course, on Wednesday. Charlie, thank you so much
thank you for having me.
Dedicating the time and coming up. Noah, of course, thank you for producing and tripping me up on the blind tasting.
Tripping us
and cheeky live audience, we have Laura, Richard, and Stephen as well. Thank you so much for making the journey on up. And guys, we do have something special happening on Monday. It's a little bit different. We still have an amazing guest on, as we always do. But it is, of course, Len Evans's, well, if Len Evans was still around, it would be his 90th birthday. So this year, I'm not sure if you heard that there is a very important scholarship called the Len Evans Scholarship, Len Evans Tutorial. It is Len Evans' actual legacy. And obviously being such a, amazing year, 90 years old if he was still around. And you've got to remember, Len Evans really built our entire Australian wine industry. Like, all the things that he did and dedicated his life to, really, to be honest, give us the ability to actually exist. This year, because of obviously coronavirus and whatnot, they've had to cancel Len Evans Tutorial, and they've asked us to organise, not us, but the global us, the royal us, all wine lovers, to do something, anything. Selfie with a dope bottle, crack open, a bunch of wine with some mates, and do a bit of a Facebook Live yourselves. And hashtag, I believe it was Evans90. I'll let you know. We'll start posting on the socials as well, because we're going to open up a dope bottle. I don't know what dope bottle. In fact, I'm probably going to go buy one because we don't really have many. Most of our guests usually bring them for us. But we're going to open up something fantastic to commemorate that. So if you want to open up something fantastic with us and chime in and chat and just say what you're opening up, and just be able to have a drink on Monday that's absolutely baller, you can totally do it with us. Evan's 90, we're going to be doing that coming next Monday. Is that like Monday week? Is that how it works? Monday week? Yeah, basically in 7 days. Guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you on Wednesday.